Alright guys, James Brown here, and I just want to give you an example of how you can share your story. So I'm just going to share a little bit about mine with you, but I have nothing planned, nothing in my mind. I'm just going to say it. And if you come up with this with your story, then you can work with a lot of things. You can find out a lot of things. You can expand your story from here, but you really want to just learn how to be authentic. That's the most important part. So once you understand the feeling that you have to have while you're sharing your story, then you can actually share other parts of your story very easily. And once you understand how to do that and you start doing it with other parts of your story, then you're able to go through the technical stuff of the story and be like, oh, did I hit this? Did I miss this part? Did I miss this? Did I miss that? And then what happens is there's like a 12-step, series that you can go through with your storytelling, and I can teach this stuff to you guys. And what happens is when you're telling your story, then when you hit those parts, it will hit every single part of a person's brain and help them come to a place where they can make a buying decision and know you, like you, and trust you. And so it's very important to be authentic because people can feel the difference. Tonality, your voice inflections, they will all change depending on if you're being honest or not. And so I just had this breakthrough at this event. Otherwise, I would have shared this with you before. But I realized that, it wasn't that I was trying to lie. It wasn't that I was trying to not share certain parts of my story. But I just felt like, oh, that's probably not important to people. And so I didn't really share certain aspects of it as a product of not really knowing, not really understanding like what I need to be sharing and what I didn't and stuff like that. And so I started thinking, oh, well, this will like make a person think this, or this will not make him think this. And so I left certain things out. And so because of that, I wasn't really sharing my authentic story. And so I wasn't able to build off it. And once you come to this place where you understand the feeling of authenticity, then you will be able to go through this 12-step procedure with your storytelling that I can give you guys. We'll start with 3, and then we'll work up to 7 and 9, and then we'll move to 12. But the goal is once you come to a place of authenticity, then what happens is in your story, you will be able to identify what part of your story is step 1, what's part step 2, and so on and so forth. And if you missed a part, because sometimes we just forget stuff, then what happens is you can be like, oh, I missed this part, but you can authentically go back and just answer that question, answer that part of the story. And because you understand the feeling, it's not hard to do that. And so once you've done that, with your story, you can go to other parts of your story, and then you can go to other parts of your life and share different stories in the same way. And once you've done that a few times in the future, because you understand the feeling, you understand the process, and because you've done it a couple times, at that point you'll remember what you need to share and what you don't need to share, and you'll be able to tone it down, not tone it down, but like compress it to smaller, just smaller versions of the story, but still hit the entire story in a natural and authentic way. And then the final step would be to master it, and you'll be able to write it, you'll be able to say it, you'll be able to say it live, And it'll be this natural thing where you'll never feel that fear of man, or the feeling of, what are people going to think about me, or is this going to resonate with anybody? You'll just know that it will work. And once you're there, you can literally create, millions of dollars from your story alone. So, this is very important, but you can, if you do this properly, then you'll be able to find your target market more easily from your story. And, you can come up with a target market before, but when you share your story and work on your story, it's just easier to, find your target market from your story, because you'll see certain things in your story that you'd be like, oh, I didn't even realize that those are the type of people that I'm relating to. And you'll be able to find, your audience and who will relate with you. You will be able to identify who's going to relate with you the most by just what your natural story is. And then as you do more and more stories, you'll be able to see who relates to you in each one of those stories. And then from those stories, you can identify several target markets. And sometimes you can combine them, and sometimes you can't. But what you can do is find out which ones, from there that you can make the most money with, which one in the world are there more people of that specific target market. And then you'll be able to laser beam focus, and speak to them and their problems. And then start providing solutions to those problems by researching, changing yourself, finding the answers to those problems. Some of them will be in our products. Some of them you'll just have to find on your own. But you'll at least have a direction and focus for your target market, and be able to break down your target market so much easier when I give you the tools to dig into the mindset and the heart of your target market. Because really, it's just you. And you're just, assessing who you are, and you already know the answer to that. So, but you're going to be able to understand how those people think, because you are those people. And you're just going to be able to write down, what you think and what you feel, and be like, oh, wow, that's what they think and that's what they feel. And then you're going to be able to talk to their problems, and it's just really cool. So, I'm just going to share my story, and I want you to see how there's no, I'm not going to share it in a way that looks pretty. I'm just going to actually just share it in the way that I want you guys to do. So I'm not going to plan anything. I'm not going to do the 12 steps or 3 or 5 or 7. I'm just going to share it all over the place in an authentic way, to help you guys understand what I want you to do. Not the final product. I'm giving you the initial product. Okay, and then we'll work with you and show you how to bring it to the final product after you've done this. So, back in 2008, I ran into a website that there was this guy. It was called Pizza Boy Millionaire. And you might be able to find it even today, if you look it up. But anyway, so it had this picture of a guy that was like a pizza boy on the left, and then it showed him dressed up in some nicer clothes. It wasn't even elaborate clothes. It was Express, or maybe Abercrombie and Fitch type of clothes, buckle maybe. And the guy just looked like, I resonated with him for a couple of reasons. He looked like this guy I was doing roofing with, and he kind of looked like me, in a sense, but he just had the Abercrombie and Fitch look. He also looked like one of my buddies from the past, Eddie Moda, this guy that I used to be in the military with, and that, I really, as I grew up, I wanted to learn how to dress better when I was in my early 20s. And when I saw this Eddie Moda guy, he really made me feel like, wow, I can look good if I can dress like that guy. And, he came in a wealthy family. And so I was like, well, if wealthy people dress with Abercrombie and Fitch, it would make me more appealing to women, and so like I just liked Abercrombie and Fitch, and then I started wearing it, and I was like, I just feel better in this clothes. I feel more confident. I just like who I am, and it makes me feel like I'm me. And on different clothes like that, like Buckle and sometimes Express, not everything, but anyway, so this guy, he just looked like that, and so just from what he looked like alone, I resonated so much with him. I was like, oh, who is this guy? And when it was like Pizza Boy Millionaire, and it piqued like curiosity because it was like Pizza Boy, like who's a millionaire that's, a pizza guy, right? That's like an ironic, or like a, what's it called? I forget the word, but it's like it says one thing but means something totally different. It's like the stark contrast to the reality. And so it showed him like in pizza delivery outfit on the left, and on the right side of the screen it showed him like dressed nice. And so I was like, what is this? And it just looked professional on the screen. And I saw the video, and so I listened to the video, and I was like, oh man, this is that guy. I saw, I came to the video like, let me go back. In 2008, I saw it, and then I must have got distracted because I don't remember actually watching it. But I remember, maybe I watched some of it or something, because I remember it was awesome. That's all I remember. I literally don't remember anything else except that it was awesome. And what happened was, I think I must have, went to study the Bible with somebody, or went to church or something. I don't know. Came back home to like a blue screen on my computer or something, or whatever, or maybe my computer shut down or turned off. All I know is that I could never find that website again. I looked all over for it, and I couldn't remember the name. And then in 2014, January 2014, I ran into the site again. And when I ran into it, I was like, oh man, this is that site, that I just remembered it. And I was like, I remember this is that site that I wanted to, watch. And I was like, what is it? I was like, I'm not going to leave this page. I bookmarked it and set it as my favorites, and, and just, took the link, and I literally copied it and put it somewhere, to save it, just in case if something happened to my computer before I got finished with the actual video. So what happened is, something like that. I don't know exactly what I did, but something, basically what happened was I just wanted to make sure I didn't leave the video and miss everything. And so I started watching the video, and I watched it, and the guy was talking about, telling the story, and like where he was from, and what he had gone through, and so on and so forth, and he was just sharing a story about all his hardships that I just remember, like, him talking about how he owned like this computer programming, or this place where he had a bunch of guys working for him, and they, he lost like millions of dollars or something, and and that wasn't where he came from. There was some other place. I mean, obviously he came from delivering pizza as a pizza boy, but he had worked his way up on the internet, and then he got to a place where he made millions of dollars or something. And then he tried to create like this what's it called? A place where he can bring some personal touch to the business. And so he had a bunch of people calling to connect with his clients, kind of like how iPass, coaching works. And so that's where actually iPass came from. He was one of the founders of iPass. And so, but anyway, so I'm watching the video, and he was just talking about like what he had gone through and how he got to where he was going, and like how now he's making literally like, at the time I thought it was $250,000 a month, but I think that he might have said his biggest month was $250,000, or he said, now I've made $250,000 a month or something. Maybe he had a couple of months in a row or something. Maybe that's when he was doing the story. But either way, that's what he was sharing. And now I'm watching this guy in the video, and the way he was talking, it sounded like his story was kind of planned, or like he had written it down, he was reading it, or like he just seemed fake, and I couldn't tell if he was lying, and I couldn't tell if if he was telling the truth. But I was like, maybe he's just like me, and maybe he's trying to share a story, and it's just hard for him, because if I was telling that story, like I wouldn't, it would take me forever to remember all that junk, and so I was like, I don't want to, like, it seemed skeptical, it seemed kind of scammy, and so I didn't really trust it right away. But I just remember thinking in my mind that, what if it wasn't? And, like, what if it's, what if it was really true and he's just doing the best that he can, and, and that's, and he's still making $250,000 a month. And I'm like, if this guy can do that, and he doesn't even know how to, like, really talk perfectly. I've been part of a company, and I learned from this millionaire in the company, this network marketing company, and I was direct to a CEO of the company, because I worked really hard with me and my buddy, and we they called us like the dynamic duo in the company, and we had recruited between both of us 136 people in our team. And so we became the exchange leg direct to the CEO, because there's like this exchange leg, we're part of a network marketing company. And when somebody worked their way up to become a branch manager of the company, they had to give an entire leg to the guy that's originally invited them or sponsored them into the business. And so we became direct to the guy that sponsored them. And and then so I watched all these guys, including the CEO especially, just share a story over and over and over and over again. And it was like perfect. It was always perfect. It was like he never did anything wrong. And so I understood how to craft your story because of how well this guy named Mickey, this, Kathy, you might remember, and Roms, you might remember him. But how well he crafted his story. And I was like, I just need to learn how to do that. And this guy was doing it on the internet on video. And so that really was impressive, because he wasn't wasting his time sitting in front of me. And I was just like, okay, so I understand the concept of like creating this story. And so I just resonated with this video and this guy. And I was like, if this guy can make $250,000 a month doing what he's doing, then I don't care what he's doing. I know I can make at least $60,000 a year, because in my mind, I had figured out, like, I can do everything I want to do, enjoy my life exactly how I want to live it, go on vacation as often as I want to, see my family as often as I want to or desire to, take care of all my necessities and all my needs, and beyond my basic needs, like everything I want and desire in my life. I knew that if I come up with $60,000, that I can do that. And so anything beyond that is just pure money. I can like invest with it. I can do whatever I want. I can plan for the future. I can buy like luxury stuff. I can give to people. I can do whatever I want. So if this guy's bringing in $250 a month, I mean, I could work for a year and never have to work for the rest of my life. I was just like, if I made that kind of money, but I was like, if I can make $60,000 doing that and still spend more time with my friends and family, because this guy's doing it on the internet, I could literally not even work, and I can spend my life, going into the ministry. I could be, I could like go back into real estate and have fun with that, because, I kind of enjoyed it. I just don't want to do it all the time, and I could literally teach and train people how to do stuff. I thought of making money on YouTube and like teaching and training people and creating blogs and having a blog for health and having a blog for finances and having a blog for teaching life hacks and different cool things that you can do to save time and money, and just sharing interesting things about life, and maybe another blog about how to get close to God, and all these different things. And so, I'm sharing like details, versions of my story, because I want you guys to really understand, like, I'm sharing all these things that, a lot of people might not think will matter. But if you just get it out, if you do it, you can do it in 5 minutes, but, I'm sharing like all the weird, deep thoughts. I have like 10 different stories within one story, and I'm sharing like bits and pieces of each different story that I can think of. And the more and more I tell it, the more and more details I come up with and find. And so, all these different things and so much more really just help me to see that this guy, like, if this guy can do this, then I can, I want to do this. One, two, I just saw that even if he's like got some special gift that he just never tapped into, because he didn't know as a pizza boy that he had it all, but he never had gone to college. Like, I don't even think he graduated high school. I don't know. Maybe he did, but the thing is that, he was just explaining to us how that you make money on the internet. And he was talking about, you got to have a system of getting, to be able to bring people in that's a process that's very simple and easy to duplicate. And he had this 3-step system. And the system was that you bring in traffic and that you convert those traffic to leads through a capture page. And then from that capture page, you convert them to sales. And there's a process to convert them to sales. And then so they can get that process, and when I buy for $25. And so I was like, man, I want to get that process. And so, I was just excited about it. He explained a little bit more in detail about, how to get traffic and like how to get leads and how to convert them to sales. But he said that he's going to teach me how to do it, give me exactly what to do and show me how to do it in a really cool way that is appealing to people, and they just, resonate with, and they, want to, they want to actually buy it. And I was just like, wow, this dude is making $250,000 a month. I can most certainly do at least $5,000 a month, with that process, which is $60,000 a year. If he can create that kind of money with it. And I could work my way up too. If there's that kind of money in it, then I was just dreaming. I was like, man, I could do so much if I could just talk to this guy. And so I've seen these things before, and I've been on the internet, and so I was like, who is this guy? Let me make sure I'm connected to him, because I didn't want to be connected to some other affiliate, And so I looked down below, and I saw this guy's name, and his name was Chris, the Pizza Boy Millionaire. His name was Chris, and so I looked down below. The guy's name below was Richard, and I'm like, "Who's Richard?" Maybe Richard is his business partner, maybe it's his secretary. Who is this guy? And so I started looking up Chris, and I couldn't find him anywhere on the internet. I found other people who were like targeting his name, and then they had this, goofy song on YouTube, and he was like singing "Pizza Boy, pizza, 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 pizza," in the shower. It was just this black guy, and I was like laughing. I was like, what is this? Who is this guy? And like, he was all over this guy's name, but Chris was not there. Couldn't find Chris at all anywhere. And so I guess Chris never did any SEO, which is kind of funny, but I guess that's not what he mastered. He must have mastered paid traffic because he was nowhere to be found on the internet. And so I kept looking for him, and I started looking all over YouTube, and then I was like looking up the company name and stuff, and I was just researching, like scams and I was researching not because I wanted to see if it was a scam. I was actually like, I didn't believe that it wasn't, because I thought in my mind that there's no way that anybody would ever put their time, even if I was a scam artist, there's no way I would ever put my time into investing something like that for $25. You know what I mean? Even if I could get 1 million people, in my mind, like, I would just never want to scam anybody. And so, maybe there's a guy that would, but I thought, for $25, it's not too much of a risk to find out. And I'll just call my credit card company and like tell them that, they scammed me. If it really was a scam. And so, I wasn't really worried about that. I didn't care. And so, I just, looked it up and I kept researching, and, I couldn't find Chris. And so I was like, man, well, I want to get with this Chris guy. And I saw a bunch of other videos. I actually saw videos of Dave and the other Dave that was part of our company when they originally started, before he had health problems and he had to step away. But, and I was like, what is this, man? This is weird. And I ran into Tracy Walker, and like, I resonated with her because of real estate. She was another leader in the company. I saw another guy who had like combed over hair, and he had a big check in the background, and he had made like hundreds of thousands of dollars, but he just looked ugly and trashy and dirty, and I didn't trust him because I just didn't resonate with the guy, And I was like, oh, maybe I should go with that guy, even though I don't trust him. And so I've been part of companies where like once you become a sponsor of somebody, you can't go with anybody else. So I'm like, okay, I know that I don't want to like get with somebody, that I don't know, and so, or that I don't know is successful. And so I didn't really know anything about anything. I've been exposed to so much in this industry because I've been here for 18 years, but I'm like a leader in this industry. And I could not find anything about anything from this guy. And so what I decided to do is I was like, I just really resonated with Chris the most. And so I was like, I really want to go back to this guy, Richard, because he's obviously the only one that's connected with Chris. And so maybe he's a secretary. I didn't know what he was, but I just decided to buy through Richard. And it just goes to show that you don't need to be a leader, because we resonate with the people in the video. And if you have a bridge video and I resonate with you as a person, I'm going to buy from you because I resonate with you. And if you are the one that if I resonate with the person in the video and you're the one that has a way to connect with that person in the video, even as a leader, if I can't find that guy anywhere, like I just tried, there's no way that I'm going to go with him, I'm going to go with you. And that's only from a leader's perspective. Like if we're at leadership status, then they probably won't even click off the video and go look for that other guy. They'll just stay with us. And so, if we want to attract leaders, we actually have to grow to a place of success where we will attract leaders, but sometimes we can get lucky. But even before then, we're not focused on attracting leaders. We want to attract people that we want to build up and show them the way, and we can create and build leaders. Because those kinds of leaders are never going to leave you. The other leaders that are out there, if they're looking for shiny ball stuff, they're also the type of leaders that will leave you fast too. Because if they're already in the company and they're looking at your stuff and they buy it, most likely they're going to look at somebody else's later and buy that stuff and leave the other company as well. Even if they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you have a leader like that and you're relying on that kind of money, then what would happen is if you lose that leader, and many people have, you'll also lose that income, and you might not be ready for it, if you don't learn finances and you're not prepared for stuff like that. So, so it's just, you have to understand that you are not here to focus on anything but just building people and targeting the type of people that you can help, the person that's one step behind you, the person that needs to learn what you've learned, because they actually connect with the person at the next step. The reason why I connected with that guy is because he was at the next step for me to grow. And so, there's other people at different steps that I can't even relate with sometimes, or they can't relate with me because I've learned all this stuff. And so, either way, I want you guys to understand that what happened is I made a decision buying this because I wanted to connect with that Chris guy. and Richard was the guy that I wanted to, that was the guy that could connect with him. And so I connected with him there, and that's how I joined. And then I remember it was like, oh, is there, I remember him talking about you can make these multiple commissions, like 2,500, 500,000, 3,500. And back then they didn't really explain it too well. But I was like, oh man, is this going to charge me that money? And is that how it happens? And so I only had about $150 or something to my name. And so I bought the $25 level and then the $100 level. And I was like, oh no, is this going to be the $500 level too? And I clicked on it, and sure enough, there it was, and I was like, oh no, I was like, I don't have the money. And I was like, oh man, and I really understood it, and I wanted to get it. And so I was just like trying to figure it out. So I went into the system. I kept up all the videos on different tabs. And I literally went in the back office to see how awesome everything was. And then I went through all the videos to listen to each one of the videos before I bought everything, because I wanted to know what it was that I was buying. And so each video I was like, wow, that's awesome. Wow, that's amazing. Like, they were really powerful things. And then it was just, I just remember like, oh my gosh, we got to buy this, But I was like, man, I don't have the money for this. And I was like, this is going to be our way out. I just remember that. And so I would, I talked to Sarah about it, and I was like, man, we got to figure out a way. And so I continued to set up my system, and I went in the system, and I went through some videos, and they had this video of like how to get all in 7 days, and, even if you're broke or something. And so they helped me to change my mindset, and they helped me to figure out a way to help me figure out a way to come up with the money. And it took me 10 days to come up with the money. And so, we took some stuff back to the store. We went to I'm trying to think of all the stuff. We took back some stuff to the store. And I'm just trying to think of what else did I have. I took back stuff to the store. I sold some stuff to some people. We looked for ways that we can save money in our bills. We applied for credit cards. We borrowed money. We got loans, whatever. I don't remember all the different things, but we did a bunch of different stuff like that creatively. And I even took back an old birthday present Sarah gave me, a bike, to Walmart, and they actually gave me the money back. I couldn't believe it. And they gave me like in-store credit, and we used it for our groceries. And then we used the money for our groceries that we thought, or that we would normally use for groceries. We used that on coming up with the money to pay for everything. But so that's how we did it. We just figured out as many resources as we could. And once you're in and you're all in, you just take it more seriously, and you start going through the training and implementing things like you've never had before, because you have to deliver. And within my first month and a half or so, I've made like $2,700. And then within 4 months, I made, keep in mind, like it took I did a bunch of research, and I was like, really just wanting to make sure that, what I was doing, I was scared because, nobody else I knew was actually doing this, and I wanted to be holy. And, I wanted to make sure I kept a good reputation in the church, because I'm like, okay, if it's some sort of network marketing business, I don't want people to think, oh, I'm bringing business into the church or something crazy like that. And it appealed to me because it was on the internet, and it wasn't like out there, and it didn't affect me when I get off the internet. I can go share my faith with people and help people to know God. And then when I went on the internet, I could go to work. And so it was easy for me to separate that, and it met that need. Whereas regular network marketing, it was very hard for me to shut off talking about the business and then start talking about God at another point. And so this enabled me to do that. And so I was just trying to come up with the money after, or I was trying to come up with money after like 3 weeks, but in that 2-3 weeks time period, I had been researching this company. Are they part of the DSA, Direct Selling Association? Or do they have a compliance department? Like, what are the bad things that were said about the company, so I can, figure out, like, what are people going to try to say to me when they research that junk? What are, what are the good things about the company, so I know what the company is. And I had learned that I got to know my products if I want to sell it. And so I was just trying to research what the products were about and like different things like that. And so, after that, after I had done all that research, which I didn't really actually remember anything, it just gave me solidarity. It just gave me like, it helped me come to a place where I was like ready to make a decision to buy the rest of the products and trust the company and trust the people in the company. And so what I did is I got a phone call from the guy, and he told me like, hey, how you doing, man? Just letting you know, this is who I am, and this is what I do, and this is what I'm, doing in the company, and blah, blah, blah. And I was just grateful that he had called me, and I was like, okay, this is real then, He's like, yeah. And so he was sharing his successes and why he joined the business, and I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool, man. It sounds like, things are going well for you. And I was like, how are you doing in the business? And he told me that, he just started out and that he's working through some things too, but that he's creating some things from the company and so on and so forth, and blah, blah, blah. So anyways, he connected me with some of the leaders in the company, and he connected me, and he helped me to start focusing on the trainings and blah, blah, blah. And then, just trying to think what else that happened, but, and then I found that video and I went all in. He made sure I got into the system, that I didn't miss anything. This was back way before, before they had these platforms. It was really hard, actually, to get set up. It wasn't until recently that they actually set everything up where it looks like Facebook, and it's a really cool, easy platform. So it was harder before. And, but anyway, so, what happened is that, okay, so I came up with the money, and I invested into everything, and then because I invested into it, I just took it seriously, and I went and I told some of my great friends, and I shared it all over Facebook, and I had all these people like joining. I didn't even know who they were, and all my friends that that I felt like were business minded, or that I had a strong relationship with. I shared it with them, and then they bought a bunch of the stuff too. And so I made like $2,700 my first month, and then after 4 months, I had done $14,400 in sales, or something like that. I think it was like $13,900 actually. And then so like I had gotten all my money back from the investment. And so since then, I've gotten solidarity that this is what I want to do, and this is where I want to plant my flag and build my career. And so since then, I've invested into myself and into my business so that I can help you guys, so that I can have clarity in my business, so I can really understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and and start building the skills that I need to have in order to do this business. And so what I'm doing is I'm just sharing with you, there's no plan in what I'm doing. I'm literally just sharing details after details after details. And I could share parts and pieces of what I just shared with you in 3 minutes. I'm just sharing you the details because I want you to do is just talk and talk and talk and get it all out, and just think about why did you do what you did, and what did you relate to, and how did you make your decisions. And so Yeah, I shared some successes in my story at the end, but, ultimately you don't even have to share the successes. I'm just sharing what happened with me. I have no point in that, but the point is I could share that story, and I could also share, maybe a couple more things. Like I could tell you that, what else is something good? Something that might be helpful to you is, okay, so like there's that 3-step process where it's like, where were you? Why did you make the decision, and what's your, vision, or where are you going? And so I never talked about where was I. I just talked about the decision I made, and then what happened after that decision a little bit. But, if I talk about where I came from, I could go into that, and I could just, tell you like why that I was open to all that. And, and I could also tell you, like what happened in my life that had led me to being open to making that decision, or to think those thoughts inside of that story. And then, and I can come from an authentic place and just share that with you. And I'm not going to share it now just because this is a long video. I thought it was going to be 5 minutes. But see how I just tried to share for 5 minutes, and now it's like almost 40 minutes. And then I could share about where I'm going, and I could be like, I'm coming up, one of my visions right now that I feel like is smaller than really my true vision, but is to free 100 families a year, and and the reason why I say that is because I think of like creating 6-figure earners per, 100 6-figure earners per year, because I think if I can help a 6-figure earner per year, that means I'm helping like thousands of people every year to be thousandaires, to be people that are making thousands of dollars. And I'm helping, tons of people to make their, maybe tens of thousands to make their first commissions every year. And if I can, and so that's my vision, because if I can create 100 6-figure earners per year, I'm truly freeing them, and I'm helping a person become a leader that's actually impacting and changing people's lives, and they're leading people to a place where they're changing their life. And so to me, that means a lot to me, personally, to be able to make sure that, hey, if I'm doing something effective, I'm actually really impacting someone's life. I'm not just like making money off them and teaching them some cool stuff, and so that's my vision. And in order for me to hit that vision, I have to grow myself to a place where I can actually do those things. And so that's where I'm going. And so far I've made a decision to just invest any of my money that I can. I'm trying to get as many resources as I can to invest into myself as much as I possibly can, as fast as humanly possible. And so I've just invested a ton of money. Anyways, and so that's where I'm going. I got some other things that I got some, I want to be able to help our church to be able to put sound doctrine on the internet and do SEO and Google rank the things that are coming from Scripture, and have the sound doctrine ranking, because there's a lot of false doctrine on the internet. People are going to that and finding that junk, but they don't even know what they're doing with SEO anyways. They're paying some people to do it, and the people that are doing it still don't even know how to do it either. And they're ranking for things that aren't even real keywords. And so, that's another vision of mine, to be able to help my church in that way. And I want to be able to use a lot of the money to be able to help progress the mission of God, to be able to get the gospel out there to, the rest of the world. And so, these are my visions. These are my personal, whys. And I don't really share all that with most people, but, you can share that, or parts and pieces of that, with other people, like your mission or your vision and where you're going. And, and really what it does is you can connect. People will relate with you because of your vision. People will connect with you because of, where you came from, so I can share where I came from. And just to give you a brief synopsis of what that is, okay, well, what brought me to that buying decision? I shared parts and pieces of that in my story, because like, yeah, I told you about network marketing. You know, I have some experience in there, and told you about that CEO I was with, and about the stories, and I told you about, you know, the whole story of me, like, you know, connecting with the guy with the clothes, you know, and I thought like, you know, that guy's a pizza boy, man. I remember being a paper boy. And so I was like a deliverer. So I can remember like in high school, that's where I came from, and I can relate with that. And so that's where I came from. I share parts and pieces of that in my story, but I could actually share that before, and I could set it up and prefame everything and create my story in a really powerful way that people are able to follow. And so, that's basically how you come up with a story. Like, I just naturally just spoke it. I didn't even think of what I was going to say before I was going to say any of it. I just thought of it as, you know, like, wow, that's real. These are the real reasons why I actually made the decisions I did. And there's probably a ton more that I just didn't think of right now. But like, that's what I want you guys to do with your story. And if you can do that, that's what's going to help you to relate, to find your target markets, to find the people that you're going to be able to relate with, to find the people that you can target and the audience you're going to talk to be able to speak to the problems that they're having, because they're having the same problems you did before you joined. And so you're not going to be able to understand what those problems are if you can't really remember and just think about like these things and like why you really joined, you know, and how you did it and why you did it, and just talk about it, you know, and then think about, okay, well, where did that come from? And like, oh, wow, this is where it came from. You know, I'm like, oh, where am I going? And then like naturally just authentically share that. And so I encourage you guys to do a video just for yourself. And, you know, you can share it with me so I can give you some tips. But, you know, when you share from the heart, if you notice that, it comes out naturally. And I don't know if you guys followed that, if you paid attention enough. But even though it's all over the place, I'm sure it still resonated with you guys, you know, in some way, shape, or form. So, you know, click the button below and buy, you know, buy all the products, you know, and then get to the event, you know, get to Orlando. So, I mean, like, that's a call to action, you know. And so it's called EPIC. Building a story is like EPIC. And EPIC stands for engage, so you engage a person. P is present. And you're like presenting the problem, you know, and then I is illustrating. And so you're illustrating like what happened, why you made your decision, the breakthrough you happened, the turning points where you had a breakthrough or something like that. You made your decision, and then there's these really cool things that you learned, and you're talking about like the traffic, the leads, you know, the things that made you make the buying decision, and like what you're going to do for other people. And then C for EPIC is call to action. So that's pretty much how it works, guys. But yeah, I hope that helps. Now it's like 50 minutes, but that's got to be the most powerful training I've ever shared with anybody. So I'm excited about that. I hope you guys got some amazing value from that. And notice how I didn't record my face here. I'm literally just laying in bed, guys, to show you, like, you know, I just woke up and I've just been praying and reading my Bible and stuff. And I saw Kathy's question, and it just inspired me to share this with you. So, but this is one of my breakthroughs I got from the event, and it should really, really help you guys. You know, you don't have to craft anything up that's fake. You just share your real story and think of really the details of why you did everything and how you did everything. And that's what's going to, that's just what's going to, you know, get you where you need to go, you know? So, hey, take a look at this. So, like, I just noticed this. These are the people that I just recently talked to. Chris Russell, David Wood, Sarah, I got Melissa Connect and stuff. Eric. It's funny. Yeah, here's the John Penberthy YouTube powerhouse. Guy I'm studying the Bible with, Tim Cochran. Let's see. Just some other people here. Dun, dun, dun. Anyways, Ron Swan. So anyways, yeah. I was just showing you that because these are like people I talk to. But anyways, yeah, guys, tell your story. You know, do what you need to do, and come from your heart. And yeah, love you guys. Hope that helps. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye. Actually, what? Check this out. Watch this. Oh, never mind. Look, I've only made 45 recordings. You know, on this stuff. Did I erase them? Oh, it's like all in here. Like I made crazy recordings here. This is a nice thing. This is like part of the pro membership. They like keep your stuff here in the Screencast-O-Matic. Anyways, guys, you know, get all in, get the money, share your story, you know, get to the events, and you know, share this with your team. Watch it and implement it. So, love you guys. Take care.